Hey everybody, welcome back to the Microsoft 365 Copilot Connection. My name is Nick Harris and I am a Senior Copilot Cloud Solution Architect with Microsoft. Today we're going to talk about how to leverage Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Chat as your main search engine for public-facing internet knowledge. So we're going to just get right on into it. Let's do some prompting and let's show you the efficiency and time savings gains you receive from leveraging Copilot to automate your web searches. So very short, simple, and to the point. We tell Copilot in this initial prompt, provide me the latest updates on Microsoft 365 Copilot. Source your data from Microsoft credible sources only from within the last 1 month. Taking a look at that particular prompt, we are indicating to Copilot we wanted to go out to the public web, find the latest updates for Copilot from within the last 1 month, sourced from particular sources. I could be more specific than that as well. If I wanted to actually indicate particular web source URLs, I could do so. But we'll let Copilot assume what I mean when I say Microsoft credible sources, and let's look at its initial response. Now, noting when you do public-facing web searches with Copilot, you are aggregating all of that data from the public web back into a single uniform chat. Imagine scenarios where you would do this prior to AI. You would enter in key search terms, you would sift through pages and articles of information. You'd have to read that information, maybe grab bits and pieces of that information, put it into a Word document or a OneNote page, so on and so forth. That takes a lot of time. I've automated all of that. I've had Copilot automate that for me and give me the key updates that have happened within the last 1 month for Copilot. Now, make sure to understand this may not be everything. The experience of AI, of course, is changing all the time, so these might be some of the initial core updates. I could ask Copilot to provide me more, detail out these particular updates, expand its search, so on and so forth. But reviewing the output, it's really important to understand that you validate the citations when Copilot goes out and searches the public web for you. We can see in this initial output citations aligned to each individual item in this case. I can review through. I see I have one citation from support.microsoft.com. I have another down here at the bottom for our techcommunity.microsoft.com blog post, and I could directly click on this entry, go directly to that web page, and validate and review the response. And it's really important for you as the end user to review the data. You are the boss. Copilot is your intern. It gives you information back and you review that information to ensure that it is accurate. Now, going back into the output, maybe I want to actually do something with this. Maybe I want to reformat this data into a different form. Maybe I prefer a table as an example. Since this is a conversation, I can have Copilot reformat the data for me. Now we look at my second prompt in this conversation. Reformat the last output into a table with the following headers. Update, application experience, which for application experience you can see in parentheses I've described to Copilot what I mean by that header. It's important to understand that Copilot can possibly make assumptions based on the data that you feed it. In this case, I want to make sure that Copilot does not get confused and it provides me the correct form of output, which would be I want to know what particular app experience the update impacts or applies to, like Word or PowerPoint or Excel, so on and so forth, in a dedicated column. And then finally, I've indicated I want a column for value to the user. I am having Copilot generate answers for me based on its inherent knowledge, reviewing this information and providing me some value criteria that the particular update may provide me in my user experience. Let's review the table. And so we see this particular table does align to my specific requirements. We can see the application experience aligns to Copilot Chat, Excel, PowerPoint, so on and so forth. We also have value particularly to the user provided as well. Maybe we want to expand on some of that description. We can, of course, instruct Copilot to expand and detail more as we require. But for the sake of example, I'm comfortable with this particular table. Now, again, maybe I prefer this format, or maybe I need to do something with this, such as align my leadership and my peers to these new key updates, or generate some form of article or email that I can send out for broader communication to my organization to inform them of this change. So I can have Copilot reformat this output into something that I find benefit with. Now, in this next prompt, I'm asking Copilot or telling Copilot to generate an article that aligns this specific table of key updates, and I want to exclude the value to the user column, as well as a dedicated section aligning these updates and the value the user receives from those updates. I want it to be detailed in its output and provide an example aligned to each update to make it easier for the business user audience to understand. Now, this actually is incorrect based on what I thought Copilot would give me. And this is a great example to show you that based on the verbiage you use, Copilot may not exactly align to your requirements. My initial thought process was that the table be in a section at the very top without the value to the user column, and then I would have dedicated sections of information aligning the update and an example as well as the value within a section underneath that particular table. If we review the output, you can see that's not quite right. That's not accurate. So I want to realign Copilot more towards what I meant. I'm going to naturally feed it some more information so I can see if I can properly align it. So let's go ahead and prompt again. So let's review my next prompt, and this is why it's so important to be natural in the way that you converse and provide that additional detail in order to guide Copilot along the way. Do not give up on it. So in my next prompt, the last output is not quite right. More specifically, what I want is a table at the very top of the article. The table should only have the update and the application experience headers and rows of information. And then in a section underneath the table, I want each individual update listed, and under each update, I want the description of what the update is, as well as an example. And this better aligns to my original expectations. We can then see I have an initial section for the latest updates on Copilot in a table format with the application experience and update headers, and without the value to the user header and information. And then underneath that, I have each individual update listed, a description, and an example. And I can continue to align based on my natural instructions. I can then copy and paste that particular information over into a SharePoint page or a Word article or an email for communications. I can reformat and re-architect this data per my needs by providing natural language instructions in a conversational format. So I hope that this has been useful to all of you in the way that I align data on the public web and then do something with that data. That's all from me for today, everybody. Thank you all so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.